We have breaking news right now, a pursuit happening. Law enforcement chasing a suspect for attempted murder.
Let's go up to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal with the latest. Des.
Yeah, Juan and Susie, here we go. The suspect just came out of the Dodger TFR here, southbound on the 5, now just turned to the eastbound 60 out of the Eastdale interchange. An alleged attempted murder suspect. We're hearing it's possibly a stabbing suspect that LAPD wants from an incident last week. So you can see LAPD, they are staying on this one. And as I double in here, you're probably going to notice that back wheel is in really bad shape. They actually spike stripped this suspect and got at least one of the tires out of commission. But despite that, the suspect continuing at this point, and we haven't heard about any really crazy speeds, and it must be pretty difficult there with one of those. We haven't heard about any really crazy speeds, and it must be pretty difficult there with one of those tires out. But now they are eastbound on the 60. I believe the suspect is the only one in the car. Even from this distance, we can see them. It looks like we've heard about them maybe being on the phone with the dispatcher. They've got the dome light on. Not sure if the window's down or if for once we actually do not have that pursuit tint that we almost always have. But regardless, we are eastbound on the 60 coming into the East LA area. This came out of the North San Fernando Valley. We first heard about it in Arleta. LAPD, it sounds like they want to stick with it, maybe just have CHP handle any traffic aspects of the end of this pursuit if and when it finally does come to an end. But eastbound 60 now as we leave the city of Los Angeles, guys.
And Mike Rogers is at the desk. Mike, you know, when we're talking about a person who is possibly an attempted murder suspect, I mean, this is a different heightened level of security here for the officers, but also just for the public at large because of the fact that we don't know what kind of state of mind this person is in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're working to get some additional details about where and when that stabbing happened. But we do know from the Van Nuys Watch Commander that it happened sometime last week. And LAPD George units, the gang units from Van Nuys Division, were the ones that initiated this pursuit. And to your point, Susie, yes, they are heightened for sure. We have extra units in this pursuit because of it. They have denied going into tracking mode because of it. They also said we don't want CHP to take this. CHP, as Desmond mentioned, can handle the traffic break behind them, but the LAPD wants to hang on to this. They want to keep this. They want to get their suspect here.
Mike, is that back tire
out? It is, yeah. So what happened, Des was mentioning that too, but what happened was this guy originally stopped. He actually stopped, got out of the car, and then jumped back in and was uncooperative with the officers. During that period where he became uncooperative, somebody had the smarts to throw a spike down, and then he took off running that spike over. So he was stopped for a period of time, was out of the car for a period of time, and then got back in, became uncooperative. That's when they tossed the spike. He took off, and it did get the back of it. They have repeatedly described, and Des is witnessing this now, they have repeatedly described him not being able to keep control of the car, as you just kind of saw the weaving back and forth. That happened on the southbound 5 freeway as they were coming through the Burbank area as well. So this has been kind of a dicey one for LAPD. They want to hang on to it. They've even moved it over to a tactical frequency so they can hear everything citywide. Now, we are starting to leave their area, their jurisdiction, so we'll see now that if they get further away, if they want CHP to come take this, but they were content with hanging on to it. They had additional units involved in it, and here we are on the eastbound 60 freeway.
Well, just incredible here. We're watching this driver going at 60 miles an hour on a bad tire that was blown out just a little while ago. And I'm surprised we're not seeing sparks on the freeway there yet, Mike.
Not yet,
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to look, and we're getting some trees in the way. There may be, I can't tell if there's a little bit of rubber. I don't even think, Des, is he straight on the rim there, or do you think there's a little bit of rubber left?
I think there's still a little bit of rubber left, which is probably why we don't have any sparks, but it's got to be a very uncomfortable thing for this suspect here. And as you said, it's just making it more difficult for this person to control this vehicle, kind of, high center of gravity, kind of top heavy vehicle. And now you're down a tire as well. So, but, he's still continuing here, eastbound on the 60, so through Atlantic. So we are through the 710 freeway now, solidly into the San Gabriel Valley. There's no traffic out here that we can see. I can see quite a few LAPD units, though, that are actively in pursuit. I think at least 6 right now as I widen out. And, of course, there's spotlight overhead as well. So it should just be a matter of time with this suspect, but they definitely seem, pretty desperate in some of the things that they've done. So that's going to be pretty worrying for LAPD as far as, post-pursuit tactics, and it's already been so uncooperative after stopping the vehicle. You wonder what's going to happen if, the car eventually gets out. Is there any reason to believe that the suspect is going to cooperate at that time either, or do something rash? We'll have to see how that plays out, but you can see they're definitely having trouble even staying close to the speed limit here. And just 3 tires on this little Kia Soul 4-cylinder engine. Kind of a run-of-the-mill SUV here. Frankly, one of those cars that's been pretty popular with the Kia boys. We've seen in quite a few pursuits, but we don't have any knowledge that this vehicle is stolen or anything like that. So, yeah, we continue here now out through Garfield Avenue, and they are all over this one, and it should just be a matter of time, but, it's kind of up to the suspect how far they want to take this.
Well, Desmond, how long do you think, about how long ago do you think this person hit that spike strip?
Yeah, that was probably about 15 or 20 minutes ago already. That was back in the Burbank area, I believe, off of the southbound 5, or somewhere between, actually somewhere between Arleta and Burbank is where we believe that happened. So, it's already been quite some time, and it's just always kind of remarkable to see how long these suspects can continue this. We'll see if we maybe get another look at some of the other tires here, but I think it's just that one tire that's suffering right now. But still, you're down 25% of the rubber, and you're going to be down to a rim probably with some sparks eventually. You can't imagine that rubber is going to be able to hold on for much longer before things get that much more difficult for the suspect.
Mike, we've been reporting that the suspect was wanted for a stabbing that happened sometime last week. Do we know how he pinged today, how detectives basically found him today? Do we know that?
No, and my guess would be, like Desmond mentioned, the car does not come back stolen. So I would assume that detectives connected him to the stabbing in one way or another and put his car in the system. And as I mentioned, it was actually George units, the gang units, that initiated this traffic stop originally. So it's unclear if this was a gang-related stabbing that those gang units had been aware of and had known who this person was and the car description that they were looking for, or exactly how all of that went down, or if they just simply ran the plate and it came back that it was wanted for this. So we'll have to get some of those details from the LAPD once once this all comes to an end here. But is he? And it looks like I thought I saw him a minute ago putting something out the window or his hand out the window, but I can't tell if that's what he's still doing. But yeah, but they're trying to, they tried to bring this to a stop. He got out of the car originally and then got back in and was non-compliant, and that's when they tossed that spike down. And getting a good look inside there, I think he's the only person in the car, Des. You haven't seen anybody else, have you?
No, we haven't seen anyone. We were just kind of getting some different angles of this car while we have the opportunity to do that. We're coming back around to the south side of the car to see, when those sparks or worse potentially start, coming out of the bottom of the vehicle, out of the back from that busted tire. But yeah, we haven't seen anyone else in this one. But I mean, at least the speeds. I mean, we're probably not capable of driving really, really quickly now at this point. Now the lights are off as well. Just seems like kind of, frantic desperation. I mean, it's not like turning out the lights all of a sudden that the police aren't going to be able to see him now at this point. I mean, it's really just making it more dangerous for everyone else around him. But pretty well lit up from that spotlight, and pretty empty freeway as well as I widen out. I mean, depending on how hard I was thinking if maybe they wanted to, run another spike strip or something on the freeway. When you look at these kind of conditions, this would be a pretty good opportunity for it. But if they wanted to coordinate with CHP, we did see them do that on the freeway last month. We were talking about with another that was also a homicide suspect that they did that with. So not out of the question, but we haven't heard anything like that yet. And also, as we've been saying, the LAPD didn't really sound like they were looking for too much of CHP's cooperative efforts on this, other than traffic at the end of the pursuit. We'll see if that changes and how far they want to take this, because we are getting, pretty far out of the city of Los Angeles now. We're coming up to the 605 soon, so we are well to the east of the city.
Well, this next question is either Desmond or Mike. We're seeing such little traffic in front of this pursuit. Do we know whether or not law enforcement have closed on-ramps onto the freeway just to maybe thin out the crowd here?
Des, I'll let you look ahead. I don't think so. I think this guy's just getting lucky with
very lucky
with no traffic tonight as this kind of goes through here. It's actually really lucky. There's not a car at all. But I haven't seen, unless Des, have you seen anybody get ahead and shut down these ramps? I don't think so.
I have not. No, I mean, here there's some traffic way up there, but yeah, I mean, it is just a super wide open freeway, the kind of conditions that I think all of us Angelinos fantasize about. It was really easy, but yeah, look at and as I zoom back in, really having some trouble here. And I mean, yeah, what is the point here if you're continuing to just go on? He's going to drift into the center divider. Yeah, it just hit. I mean, it doesn't even seem like the car is Well, I don't know. I mean, there's just something else going on here. But, yeah, he smacked right into that center divider. It's lucky that that wasn't more serious. But, I mean, the vehicle just kind of listing all over the place now at this point. And how much longer are we going to continue this before they potentially, end up crashing and really hurting themselves?
Yeah, I mean, for someone who has 3 tires, they're going still, very fast on the freeway for someone who's, just 3 tires, really. That back right tire that you're looking at just has a little bit of rubber on it, we believe, left after a spike strip somewhere between Arleta and Burbank. But as Desmond was just talking about, seems like they are losing control of this car, I'm certain because of that tire. And it looks like they are slowing down sometimes, but then you see it again, they're speeding back up. So again, we haven't seen a lot of traffic on the freeway tonight, really getting lucky with this one. And it makes you wonder if authorities might try something like perhaps a pit maneuver or another spike strip at some point. Pit maneuver, this person could be armed and dangerous, obviously. So that's going to be a very difficult situation to try to attempt to do that. But it's unclear how they're going to stop this car, but at some point this car's got to stop because of that, 4th tire, out pretty much. It looks like they're coming to us, they're braking right now.
It looks
still,
like
at those speeds.
It looks like he had a chance, maybe Mike, right, to hit the 605, but then he moved over towards the left, so I'm not sure if he's just going to stay on the 60.
Yeah, I believe he's still on the 60. And guys, we just got video of the parking lot where this guy originally had stopped for LAPD officers. So I've just sent it to a placeholder here. We'll look at it in just a second. But basically, you see the guy, and he is stopped. He is compliant. Not really compliant, but he is in the car. It looks like there is some communication with the officers. He's got all the windows down. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of takes off. And it was in this parking lot that we believe that they had that opportunity to toss that spike underneath. And then it hit him when he was, drove forward, and he ran over that. So as soon as we get that video, it's just getting into our system right now. We'll be able to show that to you. But yeah, we are continuing 60 eastbound. Now, I'll be surprised if LAPD keeps it for much longer. We are getting decently far away from their city here. So they may start to ask CHP to coordinate to be able to take this over. Because at this point, we're past, what is this? We're past the 605 at this point. We're pretty far outside of the city of LA right now. So we'll see if they're going to end up wanting CHP to come in and really take this over for them and continue that. But right now, that is still LAPD. And again, this is units from LAPD's Van Nuys and Mission and Foothill division. So we're talking deep into the valley that are now way out here in the San Gabriel Valley in West Covina. And I think, Kel, we may have that video now that we can show you here in just a second of the initial portion of this chase when this all started. Here it comes. We'll show it to you right there on the right side of your screen. So you see they were stopped. You see the guy in the car. All the windows are down. You see them kind of talking to him. More units start to arrive to the scene, and they did that because, again, this was an attempted homicide suspect or attempted murder suspect. You see more of those units show up, and then at some point the guy just realizes he doesn't want to stay. So there he is taking off, driving through the parking lot. At this point, we believe his tire, right there as he drove over that, had been spiked right as he exited the parking lot. He goes down the street and eventually turns around and kind of comes back towards the officers as he was wrong side of the road there as he exited the parking lot. And he's coming back around, and he'll flip back around and come back towards the officers. And then kind of the chase was on. Then we kind of weaved back and forth on the valley there in the San Fernando Valley before we got on the 5 freeway and coming southbound. And he's not kind of looked back since then, southbound the 5 and then got on eastbound 60, which is where we are right now.
And Mike, you said that gang units are the ones who originally started chasing this person.
Right, it was the George units that they call them from, that's what their radio signal identifier is. But yeah, it was the gang units that did this. And they immediately requested, they got the inkling that this guy was going to run. And so they started to request units with what are called light bars. And as Desmond looks at this is a patrol unit, a normal patrol unit. And you see it's got that full-blown light bar behind it, on top of it rather. They do that because the gang units are slick tops. So they still have lights, they still have red and blue lights, they still have sirens, but they don't want the suspect to have any reason at all to say, I didn't know I was being chased, right? So that's why they bring in the fully, 100% patrol unit that's got the light bar on top, all of that. They ask that unit to be the primary in the pursuit, which is what you're seeing right now, and they continue to chase it. But again, these are units from the San Fernando Valley Patrol, as well as the gang units that are with this.
Micah, when you pull these units out of the San Fernando Valley, the folks who might need them in the San Fernando Valley don't have access to them, right?
Yeah, for sure. And what they'll do is they'll have other divisions help pick up some of the calls and deal with this. The other thing that you should know about George units or the gang units is the gang units are not responding to 911 calls. The gang units are able to kind of move about their division a little bit more freely and kind of do some targeted operations and all of that as we hard right turn, Des.
Is that an exit?
Yeah. Speaking behind. Oh, boy. Oh, what's he doing? He's turning around the wrong way on the freeway now. This is insane. Oh, boy, I really hope they have a good traffic break going. Now we're going the wrong way. Look at this. We've got oncoming traffic right here, the suspect, and they have their lights off.
Oh, boy.
Their lights are off, and they're going towards oncoming traffic. There's that CHP unit that was running the traffic brake, now turning back around, going the right way. I mean, this makes you wonder if they're going to get more aggressive about trying to get this person off the roadway. It's just like a total lunacy out here making that U-turn on the freeway. It's a good thing that they had CHP kind of holding traffic back at least a little bit back there. But you see just how quickly this can change. And I was kind of surprised that the vehicle was even capable of doing that. Just
twice.
Based on it, seeming like this person having so much trouble controlling the car. But there you go, two turns there, and now we're going back the right way. But what was the point of that? And here are all these officers now just kind of waiting for him to get back ahead, and now we're kind of getting back into formation. So a very crazy, super dangerous maneuver right there, but at least we're going the right way again.
Yeah, it does make you wonder why that person was doing that. It's almost like they got spooked as soon as they saw that oncoming traffic with the other officers coming towards them as well. But thank goodness they started going the right way again. Boy, that could have been a really, really dangerous situation. But Desmond, usually we're chasing with the primary, a secondary, and then the supervisor right behind them. That's LAPD's protocol, but tonight, many more units on the ground.
Yeah, and a lot of times they want to have quite a few units involved in this one. I think we counted 6 before. Whenever you're dealing with something, on the more serious end of the spectrum, and I mean, we're talking about attempted murder. So, of course, they're going to have more people involved in this, and then you saw CHP back there doing the round robins to slow traffic down as well. But even despite that, I mean, we could have very easily had a head-on collision. There was also earlier where it almost seemed like he was starting to drift into a big rig, but then fortunately didn't end up doing that. But I mean, is this all on purpose? It almost just makes it like the vehicle is obviously capable of making turns, but then they were also kind of listing from side to side randomly. He bumped into the center divider, but then was able to make U-turns on the freeway no problem. So I just kind of wonder if this is all just being done purposefully, and to what end. I mean, be curious to know if they've been on the phone with any dispatchers or anything like that. A lot of times with these really desperate suspects, there will be some crisis negotiating going on. Is the person in a really bad mental state? I mean, with all the different things that we're saying, I think it's fairly safe to wonder that at this point. But lights were on, and they're off, and on, and now they're off again and back on. And let's see if we're going to get off the freeway right here off of Azusa Avenue. Possibly that's the next exit. And then no, see, just kind of these random lane changes for no reason. It's just very bizarre behavior.
Very, very bizarre here, and we keep going farther and farther out from the area where this pursuit originally started. Mike, are you getting any more information from the watch commander or anybody in charge there?
We're listening to the radio. I mean, it sounds like they're still pretty content to stay with this and let CHP run the traffic break. I mean, this guy tried to make that flip. We've got some video we can show you of that when he just all of a sudden kind of turned around on the 60 freeway here. There it is when he's just kind of doing the loop-de-loop. And, the forward-thinkingness of the officers and of the CHP worked out well. They had enough of a traffic break here, and traffic was able to be slowed enough that it didn't result in an immediate collision. And then he just kind of decided, all right, that's enough. He almost turns around and kind of goes right behind that CHP car. They do a little bit of a round around there, and then he continues back on. And it just, as we were talking, it makes you wonder what the purpose of that was at all. If, obviously it was intentional, and obviously he has more control over the car than maybe we gave him credit for initially. if he was able to quickly make that move. But, you know, the LAPD, last we heard, they're pretty content with keeping this and letting CHP run the traffic brake in the back there. And that tire is hanging on way more than I expected to by now.
That little piece of rubber, Mike, is just, it's doing an incredible job
and going
holding
at these
onto the
speeds
rim.
on the freeway?
Yeah, I mean, we're up at, you know, 60 miles an hour here, and there is just still that little chunk of rubber that is preventing this from sparking. And, you know, that ultimately is, once we get rid of the rubber and you start running on the rim, eventually that sparks, and then that wears down the rim until you get to the brake caliper and all of that. And just as I say that, is all that rubber coming off, Des?
Yep, I think I saw a bunch of smoke come off.
But we'll kind of double in again and just get another little look. I mean, it is really shocking how long it has been holding on. But one thing that is kind of to the driver's advantage in this situation is I'm pretty sure this is a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it does make it a little bit easier for him to maintain control, although you wouldn't know it you just see the way that this person's, like I said, just kind of drifting all over the freeway. But it almost just seems like that's intentional, what they're doing out here. So, so they're just keeping with this, and you know, hopefully they don't have much gas in the tank either. That's another consideration, and probably getting worse gas mileage as well with less rubber out there, more, you know, friction on the roadway, I would think. And I'm sure how significant that would be, but otherwise it's just kind of up to the suspect, you know, how long this is going to go out. Unless they wanted to try another spike strip or something on the freeway. But the way this person has been driving, it would be hard for me to imagine that they would want to put any officers in harm's way, because this person really is incredibly erratic.
So, Mike, when the gang units first made contact with this driver, he actually did pull over, right? We saw that video. He pulled over, and there was some sort of a communication before this pursuit kicked off, right? Yeah,
there was, and it looked like they were trying to negotiate with him a little bit. And guys, I just got some additional information. Maya on our desk talked to the watchman over at Van Nuys. The stabbing happened on Saturday the 18th in the Van Nuys area. So this is the same area where they tried to stop him. So it is very likely that those gang units had been briefed on this person, had a bolo or be on the lookout for this person, and were aware that he could potentially still be in the area, and were looking for him and found him tonight.
Do we know about anything about the victim, Mike, in this stabbing?
No, but they're not dead, because that would make him a murder suspect versus an attempted murder.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're still pulling the file on that and having all that ready, but it sounds like this is somebody that they had been looking for, and he was still in the area.
So this is a possible stabbing suspect. Mike's just telling us that this stabbing happened, according to police, on Saturday in the city of Van Nuys, and this is where the pursuit actually originated, with the gang units originally, as we've been talking about. This pursuit taking us through the southbound 5, eastbound 60, where we are right now, may continue to be for a good 30 minutes now. And this person is on 3 tires, the 4th tire on the right side, back side, compromised by a spike strip that was thrown out somewhere between Arleta and Burbank.
Right.
And
I believe it was in that parking lot.
In that parking lot, that's right. We showed you video of that person going over that spike strip in the parking lot. That's right. And you know, you would think by now, by this point, by these speeds on the freeway, that this tire would be, I mean, you know, it would be sparking. Looks like they are finally maybe coming to a stop.
Or are they turning around again? That's a scary part.
Boy.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it almost looked like maybe he wanted to try doing that.
Because that's the last time they did that, Des, right? He went all the way to the right, and then looped around.
Yeah, just super erratic, incredibly random, just really having no idea what the next move is going to be with this suspect. I mean, you almost just wonder if they're kind of toying with officers at this point. With just the way that this has gone all over the freeway, from the left to the right, and U-turns on the freeway, wrong way, right way, lights on, lights off, back on again, blinker on for whatever reason. But yeah, so we're coming up to the 60-57 interchange here. So this will, if he just kind of stays in these lanes, this will take us to the East 60, and then we'll be into Pomona, and we'll be getting ready to cross the county line pretty soon. Once we get beyond the 57 and the 71, we'll be into San Bernardino County, and we'll see if that, you know, changes anything, or if could San Bernardino sheriff's deputies or CHP potentially end up getting involved. But you just wonder, I mean, at what point does LAPD start asking for assistance from other agencies.
Yeah.
How far away do we have to get before, they call in the backup, so to speak, to help them bring this to an end.
And Desmond, do these units have that push bar that the CHP has to do a pit? Would they do a pit since there's no traffic right now on the freeway?
Well, we're behind that lead unit right now, and I mean, they definitely like to have a push bar, but even if they don't, it doesn't necessarily mean that they would do it. We've seen pit-trained officers that are in a cruiser without a push bar, and they would still go ahead and do that pit maneuver. So, I mean, of course, they don't want to cause potentially thousands of dollars in damage to their vehicle, but if push comes to shove and they feel that that's what's necessary, then they won't hesitate to do that. But so yeah, I mean, that is possible too. But then we wonder if the suspect is armed with something. I mean, considering what this was, an attempted murder. Of course, we were talking about a stabbing, but that doesn't mean that this person might not necessarily have a gun, and then that kind of factors into the pit maneuver thing as well. And we're still just going a little bit too fast for that, I think, as now we're coming in with other traffic too, starting to finally see some other cars out here as we come to the 6057, and let's see what their next move is going to be. It looks, well, now back over to the far right would take us to the South 57. The left lanes will keep us on this East 60 through Diamond Bar.
Can't believe he's made it all the way, Mike, to the 57. That's quite a distance from the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, Susie, really quickly, I want to show you. I slowed down the video where he hit that initial spike strip. So watch it here in the parking lot. It's when he exits the parking lot. There is right there. That officer right there was holding it. It'll play again, and I slowed it down for you so you can see him run it over. But it's right when he leaves that parking lot. And I'm surprised with the spike right there, because he runs over it with more than one tire, but it only locked on that one tire.
And I'm surprised the officer was so visible too. Usually they're
so
kind of
close to the
hiding
car.
out of the way, but I'm sure it was just a quick move to catch this guy, who they didn't think was going to leave the parking lot, right, Mike?
Yeah, it was just kind of a just in case kind of thing, and then just in case turned out to be really important because you got the good spike on that right rear tire, and again, it's an advertisement for whatever tire manufacturer that is, because this guy is still going. We haven't seen a single spark.
Miles and miles. Wow, dozens of miles. Too.
Mike, when you slowed down that video, we could see it's a young guy. It's a young guy with a backwards baseball cap on, a young man in this car leading police now on a pretty long, miles-long pursuit. He's considered an attempted murder suspect for a stabbing that happened on the 18th. This month on a Saturday.
In the Van Nuys area.
In the Van Nuys area, which is where this pursuit started. And it was gang units, actually, who spotted this car sometime tonight. And as you were just showing us, Mike, he did pull over. There was some communication before he took off, hit those spike strips. And here we are. What is it, almost an hour later?
Oh, yeah. I mean, more than that, I think. Let me see what time we launched. Desmond was probably... Yeah, I mean, we're about an hour. Let's see, 9:38 is when we first started hearing about it, so we're coming up on an hour right now.
35 now.
Yeah, and we're just about, not far from crossing over into the San Bernardino County line. So, we're coming up into Pomona. He's staying, eastbound on the 60 freeway. Once we get through Pomona, and then we'll be in Chino, and then, once we pass the 71, we're in San Bernardino County. Yeah. So we'll see if LAPD is going to be in for the long haul. Or
I was going to say, Mike, we know CHP has state jurisdiction. What about LAPD when they leave the city and the county?
Yeah, so they're sworn law enforcement officers across the state of California. So generally they have police powers anywhere in the state. It's just, you get into a matter, the real reason that they generally don't like to do it is A, they're leaving part of their city uncovered, but also they don't know the area like local law enforcement does. If this guy gets off on surface streets, they don't know the footprint of the neighborhoods that they're in as well as they would in their city. So it's not to say that they certainly have the capabilities of continuing to chase, which they absolutely are. It just becomes a thing of they're not as familiar with the area when this comes to an end, if it's not on the freeway and all of those things.
But this is going to be a high-risk stop.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what he does. Does he run through neighborhoods? What does he do? Now, what we know is, unfortunately, as we come into San Bernardino County, we know they're dealing with a tremendous loss today. Obviously they're still policing their county, but they may not have all of the same resources that they would normally have if they hadn't had a day like they have today. But we are going through some of the smaller cities. You'll have Pomona, Ontario. Chino's got its own police department, so some of those guys could certainly step in and help out if it ends in that part of the county here. But for now, we are still eastbound on the 60. We'll be approaching the 71 before too long, and then shortly after that, we will be in San Bernardino County, and that's the Highway Patrol, Des.
And that's
so
the closest we've seen them
Yep.
get.
Well, so CHP's taking over now.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. As we get ready to cross the county line, it looks like that's going to answer that question. And now let's see how one of the more aggressive agencies decides to handle this. If the suspect does slow down at all, if the vehicle begins to conk out more, if he finally loses that last bit of rubber on the back tire, maybe they do slow down enough to do a pit maneuver on the freeway. Just have remarkably open conditions. I mean, I know it's late at night, but it's still Southern California. I still feel like it's pretty rare to see. We've just had so little traffic out here on the roadway, but the suspect's just been going a little bit too fast for that. Needs to slow down at least another 10 or so, maybe 15 miles an hour before they would even contemplate that. But CHP could potentially, try a spike strip or something here. But you see the way that they have been kind of going into the center divider and actually ran into the center divider earlier. You're probably not going to want to have an officer out there really in harm's way if this suspect wanted to, ram an officer or something with a car. This does seem to be someone who's pretty desperate. And I mean, there's a lot of damage on that side of the vehicle as well. We didn't see where that came from, but I mean, they must have hit something else earlier before we had eyes on it. We saw him bump into the center divider earlier, but there's a bunch of damage on the passenger side as well. So, what is going on with this suspect? Look at him kind of tugging the wheel like back and forth like that. You can kind of see him like kind of jerking motion on the wheel there. Very strange. I mean, are they under the influence of something or what is going on?
Yeah, was it just the
in their
car?
head?
Yeah.
Is the car getting harder to control, right, Des?
Yeah, quite possibly. And if they're just kind of running out the clock on this one, look, we are slowing down a little bit there. We were at kind of pit-approved speeds there briefly at about 35 miles an hour or something, but that's going to be up to the CHP sergeant if they want to allow that or not. But now that we have, fresh agency on this, a new set of eyes, it might kind of renew their patience and just see where the suspect wants to take this. But, we're into the Inland Empire now, getting ready to cross the 71 freeway, and no signs of this vehicle conking out yet.
Oh,
wow.
No signs of this person coming to a stop, just incredibly. And, it's interesting because, when the CHP just took over, you saw them get really close with their patrol car. Almost
I thought we were going to see a pit.
I thought so too, right there on the freeway. But it looks like they've backed off significantly, right, Desmond?
Yeah. Let's just widen out and see that they have backed off quite a bit, and maybe just wanted to do some quick recon of the vehicle before just giving them a little bit more of a wide berth here. And we'll see if they will probably be switching out helicopters too, I would imagine. Okay, actually, my pilot Dylan just let me know that Police 16 staying on this for now, they're saying, but maybe we get 40 King out here, or Ontario has a helicopter as well. There are definitely other options. If they run low on fuel or something, they'll be able to. They should be able to swap out another helicopter and have that overhead without they're losing any aerial coverage, so to speak. But yeah, it's really remarkable that we have not seen any spikes, or rather any sparks, I should say, coming from that rear passenger side of this vehicle. But look at all the damage to it too. Like I was talking about, he must have rammed into a right shoulder wall or something, or maybe another car at some point, or not clear when that happened. But this is a beat up car, but it continues regardless.
Mike, at this point, they're not going to be giving this up, right?
No, I mean, CHP's got it now, so CHP will chase it, until the cows come home, so to speak. I mean, they obviously can chase it all the way to the state line if they wanted to. To Desmond's point, I do see Police 18 is still up there, but you've got PD 20 from Ontario, Des, is hanging out just north of you guys as well. So it looks like if they need to come and kind of step in and take over, they will. And we'll see if they get one of the CHP helicopters.
Slowing down, Mike, it looks like.
Down to 38 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. And again, will CHP want to pit this? I don't know. It's an attempted murder suspect. That's a pretty serious want. I can tell you throughout the entirety of this chase, we have not ever heard that they believe he's armed. I mean, you would suspect so because of the want and because he was allegedly involved in a stabbing, but we've not heard any mention that he potentially has a weapon right now or tonight. And you know, when we saw that video from him in the parking lot, they got a good look at him and inside the car. I mean, they had all 4 windows down while he was stopped there. So that would have been a decent opportunity for them to see him and see if he potentially had a weapon or flashed one at all. And we've not heard anything about that. But obviously, as we're weaving in and out of the fast lane here on the 60 freeway, obviously they're going to take that very seriously because of the nature of the want. And you've got that CHP unit, it's giving him a lot of space behind him there. And then you've got the units behind that also running a traffic brake. So, you know, I mean, look, they may be content, time's on their side. You have nobody on the freeway, remarkably. They may just be content to let him do his thing, run his course, and see, you know, does he want to run out of gas? Does he want to give up? What's his deal here?
And we've been on this for a while, Mike, on the 60, and it's just incredible how little traffic, no traffic basically, has been on. Usually maybe a small part of town, a small area of the freeway, but it's been free and clear almost the entire time that we've been on this.
No cars that
Right.
we've seen.
Well, and partially what's happening is he's only going 40 miles an hour. So the traffic that's in front of him is going freeway speeds, and they're not right there. And then behind him, they're stopping traffic. So you've got this kind of like gap right now where you don't really have, we've seen every now and again somebody gets on an on-ramp and they're near him, but because he's going so slow, the rest of the traffic in front of him is long gone, and the traffic behind him is being held by CHP, which is kind of giving him this open road here. But you almost want that, because we saw that weird move where he flipped around, went wrong way on the freeway. Yeah. He was going wrong way on surface streets when he was back in the San Fernando Valley. So they're doing the right thing by keeping the public as far away from this guy as they can.
No, definitely. Thank goodness. And look at that, Susie. You kind of see him kind of swerving a little bit, kind of weaving this way and that, very small, making small adjustments. Again, is he having a tougher time to control the car? We don't know, but he has slowed down now quite a bit. Yeah. Is he intoxicated? Has he taken anything while he's been in the car? We just don't know.
Who knows? And again, an attempted murder suspect is what the law enforcement agencies are dealing with tonight, right? A stabbing suspect. So obviously, as Mike was talking about, they're going to take every precaution with this. At the end, again, it's going to be a high-risk stop if they stop this person at some point, and they're going to take all the precautions at the end too if that person comes out. Of course, CHP being the more aggressive agencies, they can usually go in there and just get the person. Yeah. But again, we don't know if this person is armed, but they are driving, not erratically, but in a slow fashion. We don't know if it's because of the car itself, because it's lost one of the tires, because of a spike strip earlier, or because this person is just driving this way. But we've seen them turn their lights on and off. The turn signals have been turned off and on. As Juan mentioned, this person drove against the right side of the freeway and then completely turned around, did a U-turn and started going towards the opposing traffic. And that was really scary for a moment, because there were not only CHP officers there, but also other cars going, what is going on, I'm sure. Luckily, that person turned around again, but this pursuit continues. I mean, surprisingly, again, we haven't seen any sparks. I mean, it's so common that we see sparks. Yes, it definitely takes a while after a spike strip for us to see those sparks, but not this long.
Well, we're talking more than an hour now that this has happened. And it's hard to tell if it's, is there still that little bit of rubber that's holding on? We'd also heard somebody else say that there was, the type of material that the rims are made out of on these Kias don't necessarily spark. But even still, you would think, even if it's not sparking, you would think that it would wear itself down enough to make that rim be in half, or at least
affect his driving.
Yeah, or something like that. And it's just not happening. So, it was great that they got the spike. It's unfortunately not as nearly as effective as they usually are. And to Desmond's point, I think Des had mentioned that this is likely a front-wheel drive car, which also helps the suspect in a sense that, the power is not coming from that wheel that has no rubber.
It's basically being dragged, by the front wheels. Wow, well, just incredible. And Mike, I did see earlier when Desmond was giving us those wider shots that there were some people on the on-ramps who were kind of being very cautious, and they weren't joining the freeway traffic, most likely seeing the night sun from the helicopters and just the amount of law enforcement coming up behind them. So, and again, look at this, a free and clear 60 freeway right now in the Ontario area. Just incredible. Think about that, from the San Fernando Valley, Van Nuys area, out towards Ontario in a short amount of time, and law enforcement not giving this one up. This is an attempted murder suspect, someone wanted for a stabbing on the 18th of the month here. They somehow tracked him down today. He pulled over for just a second. We're seeing it here. Mike, take it away from here. Basically, we see them talking to him. He's turned around, listening to them, right?
View of his face.
Yeah, these are the Van Nuys gang units that pulled up here, as well as some of the patrol units, and they appear to have some sort of dialogue with him, and then it just doesn't want to comply. Watch this. This is right when he hits the spike strip. Right there is when he goes out and runs over it, and then goes wrong way on the surface street here, and eventually corrects and goes right way, and then that's kind of when the chase was on. And when we were in the San Fernando Valley, we went up and down. See the slick top unit there? Those slick top units. Those were the gang units that were doing it. And he's weaving back and forth here. I'll tell you, Desmond came from right where we're at. We had Desmond down on the ground at Ontario Airport because we were covering the closure up on the 210 freeway. So Desmond is now right back where we launched him from an hour ago. That's how long and the distance that this chase has now covered. And so we'll see. LAPD's helicopters overhead. Des, I do see a 40 King coming from Apple Valley. I don't know if they're coming to do this, but they are coming south. They'll go through the pass soon, but they're still in Hesperia. But for now, you've got LAPD's helicopter that is more than content to stick with this. There is the Ontario Police helicopter that's hanging out just north of the pack of helicopters that are covering this right now. And very consistent for the last, several minutes. Yeah. Well, now I say that and he starts to drift, almost like he wasn't paying attention, and then just kind of corrected and came back and just going side to side. Des, I don't know. Are you able to get in a position where we may be able to see in the driver's side window there to see if we can see what he's doing at all?
Yeah, well, I'll coordinate here with my awesome pilot, Dylan, see if we're able to get to the front of the vehicle. We just heard some interesting chatter up here, though, that I wanted to pass along. Yeah. It sounds like Ontario's helicopter was volunteering, saying, hey, if CHP wants to use our Bearcat to bring this to an end, the big armored vehicle, we could lend it to them. And we have seen that before with really serious suspects, with murder suspects or other, violent wants. They have brought Bearcats in and just pinned a suspect right up against the one of the walls, either the center divider or the right shoulder wall, and just bring it to an end that way. So that's interesting that they're talking about that. That's not a for sure thing, but that was Ontario's helicopter, saying, hey, that this is an option for you guys. If, of course, it would take some time to get that ready. They're going to want to respond to make sure that the vehicle is equipped with, all the different things that are on inside of a SWAT vehicle, especially the hot gas they call it, which is a very, very difficult type of gas to deal with, much more difficult than the gases that are carried by some of the other non-SWAT teams. It's so irritating. It burns your skin as well as your eyes and your lungs. So it would be, but like I said, they got to make sure that all of that is on board, and then they everything that comes with the armored vehicle as well. So it's not like those guys are just sitting there necessarily with everything ready to go. And at a moment's notice, we've definitely seen in the past, it can take quite a long time to get a Bearcat into place. But it'll be interesting to see if it comes down to that, if the suspect wants to, just kind of continue this joyride the way that they are.
Well, Desmond, have you seen a chase go on for this long after a spike strip?
Actually, I think I have. There have been times when but usually by this time we would be seeing sparks or something, or see the vehicle really struggling and kind of seeing that indication that the end is near. And we're not really seeing that. I mean, this vehicle is up. Okay, now we're getting off the freeway though, getting off at Vineyard. So let's see what's going to happen here. This is the first time we've been off the freeway since we have covered this. And not sure, exactly why, but now we're going to see how the vehicle handles when we get off the freeway, and it's going to have to come to a stop here pretty quickly and turn the wheel, and this will be, kind of a new test for this.
And he's not making a left.
How well, to
get back on the freeway.
Right-hand turn here, so southbound on Vineyard, and are they looking for a place now to get out with this, or this could be another opportunity, a good opportunity for a pit maneuver as well, now that we're off the freeway and quite a bit lower speeds.
Yeah, again, the first time we're seeing this chase off the freeway. We've been watching this chase since the 5 freeway, and it's been eastbound on the 60 this entire time, just got off the Vineyard, and we're seeing the suspect drive slower than they were on the freeway, obviously, about 25 miles maybe going on the wrong way. Again, we've seen this actually a couple times tonight. For no reason. On the freeway we saw it. We saw on the surface streets in Burbank when they were they just got the spike strip on their car, and then they were leaving that parking lot. They were going the wrong way too. But looks like the units, the CHP units, are behind this person, not driving, of course, on the wrong side like they are, but they are in pursuit still with those ground units. Desmond, are those units, all of them behind them right now? Behind him, all, is it 4, 5, 6 units we're talking about?
I believe so. I'll just widen out here briefly, but yeah, I mean, we've still got 3 or 4 of them back there, and yeah, it's just, you know, look at it all over the road. I mean, this is, you know, the only good thing is that they're not going very fast. So there's someone coming opposite direction, and then the lights are on, so hopefully they'll be able to see him and get out of the way without getting into a head-on collision with this person. But yeah, we're down to 20-something miles an hour, and is this because of the vehicle, or are they just driving this slow? But
running a red light.
Well, he managed to make a left-hand turn there onto Riverside Drive. So there, where a vineyard came to an end, there was some construction going on there, and yeah, I don't know. It feels like it might just be a matter of time at this point, but yeah. My pilot Dylan saying that there might be some construction up ahead as well, and
stopping.
Here we go. We're at a stop. First time we've been at a stop. Maybe not for long. Sir,
does he have a front tire either?
This is the first.
The front tire looks
yeah,
bad.
this is the first we've seen of this. So he's down 2 tires, and that's a very important tire because that's, you know, one of the front ones with a front-wheel drive vehicle. So yeah, so I'm not sure when that happened, but we've only got 2 good tires, only 1 good drivetrain tire, and so I think the vehicle really is beginning to struggle now. And so maybe this is. Well, I say that, and then he starts to accelerate, but hopefully this is at least the beginning of the end.
Well, maybe this is why he got off the freeway in the first place.
Still, and yeah, quite possibly. And but yeah, in a big construction zone, kind of a narrow street. You got K-rail there, and yeah, I mean, how much longer is this charade going to go on?
And doing the same thing again, stopping.
The writing is really on the wall.
Stopping and going now, pulling into some sort of driveway here, Desmond.
I can't tell. This just it looks like this is just a street into a neighborhood, but Whispering Lakes Lane. So we're south of the 60 freeway, and I mean, you know, is this even a through street, or is this going to dead end somewhere? We're probably going to find out here pretty quickly, but it really should just be a matter of time now. At this point, I mean, how much longer can this poor Kia go on?
So Des, we had heard that they were potentially going to do a spike on the 10 at Kellogg. I didn't see it though. Did you see anything when we were in that area?
No, the 10 at Cal, that would have been up by the 57. Maybe if he would have continued up. Yeah. No, we didn't. We never saw any spike strips there on the 60. Any officers out there, and or him interacting, you know, in any way with any, you know, stopped law enforcement that could have been a spike strip. So I mean, I wonder if maybe that front tire had gotten spiked and it took this long to deflate, but definitely having some trouble here. I'm just curious if this is going to be a dead-end cul-de-sac, or if this is going to get us back out anywhere. But, you know, you definitely, I think this is going to be looks, no, like not quite a dead end, but yeah, I mean, are they going to ditch the vehicle here? And hopefully the police will be ready if this person decides to get out and run.
Well, and Desmond, too, you wonder, this person, you know, the alleged stabbing happened in Van Nuys. He started being chased in Van Nuys. Does he have any idea where he's at all, wandering around these kind of surface streets here in Ontario after, you know, going on this very, very long journey now through 2 counties as we are just kind of, you know, wandering through these streets in Ontario. CHP right behind him, but...
we got sparks.
On that front tire?
We had, I think it came from the rear tire. Did just see the first sparks that we've had. I was hoping they were going to continue because that was a dead end, but I think maybe he was able to see that, and so we just kind of continue to cruise around this neighborhood off of Whispering Lakes, Brookside. So it could get back out to Riverside Drive if they want, but this is a cul-de-sac. Here's a dead end.
Here we go.
So this is it. He's about to run out of pavement, and let's see how CHP handles this and how the suspect handles this now as they are running out of room. Is CHP going to give them space? He's coming right. They're out there with weapons drawn. He's going to, he's completely boxed in now.
There we go.
This is it. Yeah, now this is it. It's over. Put your hands up. He's really jeopardizing his own life now at this point as officers are out.
Reversing.
Just still, I mean, completely surrounded. Everyone out with lethal and less lethal. And we know how CHP they do not have a lot of patience for this type of stuff, and they won't even want this turning into, you know, a standoff situation. But this is it now for the suspect off of Whispering Lakes Brookside Drive in Ontario, where the pursuit part has come to an end. And so we just kind of double in here for a second. Have to be kind of careful and see what happens. But it was very good that he didn't crash into that vehicle, or, you know, CHP may have done something rash.
Well, and he still is kind of trying. I think he's still got it in reverse. He's obviously trying to. Yeah, look at, he's still trying to back into them. And I think luckily,
just ridiculous.
That officer that's in that car behind him got out. I watched them both, so I do believe that is empty. But look, CHP is going to take advantage of that and try to narrow up the space even further, so he can't, you know, make any kind of those moves. But I mean, this guy's got to realize, look, you're not going to ever fit through there. You're surrounded by cops. They've all got their guns drawn on you. Like, you don't have any options here. So, you know, hopefully he just kind of eventually realizes that, gives it up and comes out, and just calls this a day, and it is what it is. I mean, he'll have to face the allegations of the attempted murder. Look at that. He's on the phone there, Des.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it. He's got his phone up. I'm not sure if he's texting someone or if he's recording this or if he's streaming on social media, something that's become a very popular thing with some of these suspects as well. But yeah, words being exchanged, his phone's out. Looks like he's recording and/or so I don't know, maybe making a little memento that he can, you know, replay when he's in his jail cell here, a little video. But yeah, very uncooperative, that the officer there getting back in the car to completely pin them in. So now he doesn't even have any way to move the vehicle at all. So yeah, I mean, this is it. You know, this is, do you want to be dragged out of the car and potentially injured, or do you want to just come out? I mean, you're going to be in handcuffs one way or another. Well,
and good for CHP, you know, kind of really boxing him in. That really reduces, you know, the safety it helps the safety of the officers, but it also truthfully helps the safety of the suspect. If he's unable to start going crazy and ramming these cars, it really reduces the risk that they're going to shoot him, because that is the very real possibility that could happen in these situations, and something I know, Des, you mentioned that we get worried about when these suspects turn around and drive head on at cops. You and I have seen that time and time again, where these suspects ultimately end up getting shot as a result of this. But now, here in this neighborhood in Ontario, doors open.
There we go.
Is he going to give it up? That's
finally
great.
Coming to his senses. Yeah, it looks like it. Finally coming to his senses. He's still got his phone in his hand. They're going to want him to drop that down behind the sound wall. We'll see if we can kind of reposition here, but.
And Des, really quickly, we're gonna pause really quickly here as we end our coverage at 10 o'clock here on CBS LA on KCAL 9. We'll continue here on KCAL 9 for a moment, but we want to welcome in our viewers on CBS LA over on Channel 2.
Breaking news, a wild chase of an attempted murder suspect coming to an end. The suspect driving for miles with a missing tire. Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal with more. Desmond.
Well, Rudy Bay, we're just maneuvering around this wall right here, but the suspect now down on their stomach, and it looks like they're finally surrendering, although he looks like he might still be texting or recording or something. See if officers come and move in. I think I may have actually just seen a pepper ball being shot at the suspect. I saw a little puff of smoke, and the suspect kind of flinched. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just shot him with a pepper ball or something. Probably could have given him a nasty welt, but yeah, I mean, still not wanting to give his phone up. But they're moving in. You see, they got their shields out. CHP, you know, they are ready with this kind of stuff really quickly, and now coming in and finally getting the suspect into custody after this really long ride from the San Fernando Valley, the North Valley, from the Arleta area. We came all the way here to Ontario off of Whispering Lakes Court and Brookside Drive, this nice little neighborhood where there's quite a big ruckus in this otherwise quiet neighborhood tonight, with the suspect finally being taken into custody.
Yeah, and Desmond, you know, we've gone a long way since this all started. I mean, as you mentioned, in the Van Nuys area, you see on the right side of your screen some of that video from a bit earlier here as this was all going on. And I got to say, Rudabe, I'm very happy that the way this ended. I get very, very nervous when suspects make the moves that they make and turn around and drive straight on at those officers. Yeah. CHP did a good job. I saw that one officer with his gun right there ready. But ultimately, they were able to just box him in. They made some tight movements, tight adjustments to make sure he couldn't get away. But the guy attached to his phone all the way up until the end of that, laying on the pavement, still looked like he was texting or doing something else on the right side of your screen. Some of the crazier moments throughout the chase.
Yeah, including making U-turns into oncoming traffic, which could have ended really badly for anyone else out on the road. So fortunate in that respect, too. And there we see him being arrested, the phone finally out of his hand, it looks like. All right. Well, Desmond, thank you.